Welcome to episode 41 of Venti Questions, the show with friends, coffee, and conversation. My name's Michael.
My name's Jonathan.
And I'm Chris. And today we're talking about a topic near and dear to our hearts. It's going to be parenting, but not just any parenting. Parenting Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
The young ones.
The little ones.
The future.
Yes.
Little
So
shits.
it comes with a lot of responsibility, a lot of learning,
A lot of being wrong.
a lot of Googling too. I don't know some of these.
A
terms.
lot of not knowing what they're saying because of weird terminology.
Right. No cap.
That was tough for me to hear. I'm sure it was for you as well.
All right. But we're going to dig into it and we're going to see kind of what our opinions are on this lovely parenting topic. I think today we're going to have some differing opinions.
Yeah.
It's parenting.
Chris likes to beat his children, so it's a little different.
It just only sometimes.
Well, anyway, if you want to find out which one of us beats our children the most, make sure you watch all the way to the end to find out.
Yeah.
It's Jonathan.
Why would you give the answer away?
So, gentlemen, what is new with you, Jonathan?
I've been playing this game called Mountain Blade Bannerlord, and it's been out for a while on PC, but it just came to Game Pass, and I'm actually thoroughly enjoying it. I guess it's just I've seen stuff about it, but now that I've experienced it and got over like the learning curve, and it was originally designed for like a mouse, especially for some of the menus.
Right.
It's like really, really ambitious and enjoyable at the same time. It's an RPG where you literally are someone in the world. You don't even have to fight battles. You could literally be a merchant. You could be a warrior. You could, create your own kingdom, tear down other kingdoms. Have your own family and familial relations with other people, companions, just overall, like the amount of control and RP element I was not really expecting, because most of the gameplay is focused on just fighting. That you see the thumbnails, but then when you got to get into all the systems, it's like, yeah, this is all the stuff I like. Actually, it's like
That's cool.
a little bit of Dynasty Warriors, a little bit of Total War, and a little bit of Victoria 3 economy simulator, all at the same time.
So is it similar to like how we got into like NCAA, where it's like we started playing it because we liked playing football,
Yeah.
and then we finished playing it because we liked the off season,
Yeah.
the recruiting and all of that.
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was
stuff.
a lot of the other stuff outside of the good mechanics and enjoyable mechanics of battles and fighting with your own person is the fact that everything has a purpose and has weight to it. So similar to the whole off-season part, like you mentioned for NCAA, it's like when you're playing, the Naval Academy, you're not going to have any help trying to get good recruits, and kicker is a very important position all of a sudden.
Go Army.
Yeah,
2 stars.
you are so bad at that game.
Hey. I have to play as Army.
I beat you every year.
I'm playing as Army. I throw to a wide open guy, and instead of it going right, the ball goes left.
I mean, I heard that you were a lot better at games than he is. So I'm glad
in general games, like when we used to play Madden, like he was way better at me. And like I wasn't really into Madden when it even first came out. I was more into like NHL actually. Yeah, that was always
NHL.
Fun.
There was a time frame when he would destroy me. And then I learned how to do one-timers. And then it was a close match, but I'd still lose like 3 out of 5.
Right, got it.
FIFA, I could probably beat you at first.
No, I actually been playing.
Have
FIFA.
you been playing now?
Yeah.
Because FIFA is one of those that when you sit down and you look at the buttons, you're like, okay. But then when you learn, oh, that's a through pass.
Yes. It changes everything.
The whole game changes. So yeah,
Nice.
But FPS, no, he's gonna destroy me every time. It's not even fun. Okay, so like when you're playing a shooter and like you'll look at the scoreboard and there's that one guy that you're like, oh, he's got to be cheating. Sure. He uses like 40 kills and 1 death.
Right
there. And then that other guy on the other team that seems to be doing overall the same thing, and then you start realizing they're dying a lot. That's me looking for that guy on the other team.
He headhunts.
I headhunt because I understand that I can't win by just getting kills. I have to disrupt their best player. Yeah. So it's similar to what you'll see in like other games where, especially like a basketball game, it's still a team sport. It's like we need our best defender on that guy. He's going to shut that guy down, and now the other 4 have to come up with a difference.
Nice.
So that's strategy. Yeah, it was the best thing I could do in like a team deathmatch. It wasn't objective based. Objective based, it's played a little bit differently.
Objective based, I have a better win percentage than he does. But straight deathmatch, he has a KD like 5 points higher than me. I barely even make a freaking positive KD. I'm all about the W. I don't care how I get it. I just like to get it.
Oh boy. Anyway,
I'll sacrifice the body. I have no problem dying like 50 times to beat the objective. I have no problem with that at all.
Yeah.
So.
And I actually play my best with people who aren't quote unquote as good, because I'm able to communicate and understand how my teammates play.
Right.
More so. It's just like, oh, well, I know this is what Mike's going to give me on an average game, and he tends to lean towards this type of tactic or strategy. And then I know everybody else on the squad, and if we're all familiar, then I know how they work, and it pushes me and motivates me to show out for us to win.
Yeah.
And so I actually get more frustrated when we lose, because it's like, oh, we all lost. I let my team down.
Right.
And then other times it's someone just being dumb. It's normally not Mike. It's normally a third party, to be honest.
Mike.
The other Mike. Or Jose.
Or Corey.
Oh.
How do you get into a helicopter and turn it upside down?
Yes.
Consistently. And then claim that you are like an expert helicopter pilot in real life.
There's no answer for that one.
Oh, there is an answer.
Incompetence.
Yeah, it's called lying.
Inner rage. Meth addiction.
I mean, but that's the thing, is just I like that type of dynamic where we kind of poke fun at each other. But sometimes like people get really frustrated and they take it out and they immediately go to someone is cheating, and it's just like, no one's cheating. And it's like, it's my internet, and it's like, including Corey, I went over to his house and then still put up the same numbers after I adjusted for his latency.
The excuses.
In fairness, though, Jake can use that excuse because Jake has like 1 megabit per hour.
I think on a good day, he has like 7. But then if his kids want to watch like something on Netflix,
just stop playing.
Yeah,
stop. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not even fair.
Yeah, just stop having your children there.
He needs
in
a
your
commercial
own home that you gave.
with Sarah McLachlan.
How dare him?
Just saying, like, for 12 cents a day, we could get fiber optics to a man who needs it.
No, more like 12 million.
Well, if we get 12 million people to give 12 cents a day.
Yeah, you have to get 12 million people to care. That's the hard part.
Probably have to get Sarah McLachlan. How does Jake feel about golden retrievers with 3 legs and 1 eye?
No. You need to post it. For 12 cents a day, we can get her to stop singing this song when you just want to watch your own stuff.
I don't think Gen Z or Gen Alphas know who Sarah McLachlan is at this point.
Just so you know,
So
if you ever see sad dogs in a shelter and little cats with crusty little portions around their eyes looking at the camera going, meow, meow, and there's this really weird old lady singing underneath it, that's her.
right,
Yeah.
and she's the one singing the song
Yeah.
because in the arms of an angel.
I don't know the next words, but I'm sure Jonathan does.
Well, I don't want us to get demonetized.
That's so really sweet. You think that we have enough stuff to be able to be
In the
monetized.
future.
But yeah, anything else besides the Bannerlord?
No, I've been kind of quiet, a lot of stuff with work and the kids and stuff. So, no, that's my little escape is to just play that game. You can get really sucked into it. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
fair.
it's a time sink.
Nice. How about you?
Well, I've been messing around with a couple of different tabletop RPG scenarios. There's a couple people that we talked to a few months ago that showed us some opportunities of where we could display some of those games. I know how I talked to you also a couple months ago how me and John Boy had talked about doing our own convention because we were so pissed off with how well certain other ones had been taken care of. Mm-hmm. So in doing so, we have contacted and found some people that have some other cons that would be a good staging place to try out some stuff. So I've been trying to write some things, and it's one thing to write something for you to be able to run. It's a whole other thing to be able to write something that goes, hey, now you read it and be able to do exactly what I would do.
Right. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the easiest for me just in general because it's just it's in my brain.
Also taking it back to the whole notion of what, when it started at MegaCon was we went through some of the stuff that was criticisms of the module from the creative standpoint. And then when they read it to us and we're like, why would you change it to that?
Sometimes we get editors that just
Yes.
have a particular format they like, and if it's deviated even minutely, they are just automatically fail, So it's fun, but frustrating, which is challenging, and then, it's helps me be better at my craft. So, but other than that, sleeping.
Sleeping
That's been
works.
my number one hobby.
That's
recently.
good, I guess.
I don't really have a lot of time for it, and even when I do, it's like I fall asleep when I'm trying to sleep. Messes up my whole schedule. So but yeah, not too terribly much. What about you, bro?
Nothing too crazy, honestly. Haven't really been up to too much. I've been, we talked about hobbies and interests and stuff, and I jumping around at different things to learn different things, different skills. I have been getting into botany, plants and stuff, and learning different plant species and whatnot. We, of course, everyone's already knows about the bonsai stuff, but I also bought a money tree.
Isn't that one of those little bamboo stalks that's just shaped like a money symbol?
No, it's a money tree is an actual tree, and it can grow actually in Florida and on Hawaii. It can grow in the wild, and it can go up to 20 feet, 50 feet, wherever. It can get pretty big.
Okay.
But the one I have is what they do with them is they braid them essentially.
Yeah.
And it's meant for good luck. So you're thinking of the bamboo trees, right? Where they braid the bamboo and it shoots through. But a money tree, it's also just a type of leaf it is.
Oh, okay.
It's meant for good fortune. They say brings feng shui to the house or whatever it is. But it's meant for good fortune, essentially, is what people usually get it for, what it's known for. But the reason I got it is because it's a really easy to care for plant tree, and it can grow up to 10 feet in a pot if you have it in a home too, if you really want. If I wanted to, it could probably get the ceiling here
of trees.
Yeah, and it's just, as I said, easy to care for. You don't have to fertilize it often. Don't have to water it super often. So it's easy. So, yeah.
Look, man, sometimes when you're getting into doing any kind of like gardening or like landscaping type stuff, you just got to like set yourself up for an easy win.
Yes.
It's called layup.
Yeah, legitimately. Like there was multiple times when I was doing stuff for the house way back in the day, and I would have like some really crazy idea, and I would work on it for like a week, get it looking exactly how I wanted. I'm like, yeah. And then when it was time to do the next one, I'm like, I'm just gonna make a Mickey.
Yeah.
Becomes like pop, 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 done.
You're talking
like,
about the
I'm
cabinets.
So done.
I'm just gonna sweep.
Oh,
Remember the
the
cabinets?
cabinets that took 7 months to finish because we just didn't feel like doing it. We did 75% of the work in one or 2 days.
It was restaining cabinets.
Yeah,
mind
and
you.
then the last 25%, which is the 25% that actually makes it look good, and then also allows you to put the cabinet doors back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that took like months.
But in the pattern of the fake wood grain that we were using, right? We made like Mickey heads
We did some hits
to
and
make
Mickeys.
the wood grain.
cute.
Yeah, it was cute.
We're artistic.
Oh.
Anyway, anything else interesting, or you wanna?
No.
Cool. So I got some interesting little quick questions for us here. Would you rather your child be a social media influencer or
No.
a professional athlete?
Damn it.
Exactly.
No social media influencer. Professional athlete all the way.
Really?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's the same. Like,
Same.
yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Wait, which one of my children?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. It does matter a little bit. Just a little bit.
So you'd prefer your male or female child to be a social media influencer over a...
I'm saying one's better than the other. I have a female child, and my female child, usually female social influencers display their female bits, and I would not want that for my daughter. That's all I'm saying. A guy...
The stresses of fatherhood.
A guy
It's
doesn't...
just bleeding through like a freaking waterfall.
Right? Like a guy, like they don't have to do the same thing as an influencer as a female.
You don't have
like
enough
popular.
time to beat all of these men that may or may
I
not.
do think that you're looking...
Because they're beating themselves.
I do think
And that's
that
the
you are
problem.
looking at only a certain piece of the influencer pie.
I know, I am, but that's where my mind goes.
That could be a D&D influencer. Trust me, no skin showing.
And there's still going to be a bunch of D's out there.
I think a lot of it is just because, one, to get into that space, I feel like a lot of people cut corners in terms of the honesty of their content. I think a lot of also, when it comes down to it, in the social media aspect can be very detrimental to someone who doesn't actually have a concrete idea of who they are.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's easy to be swayed in that type of community who can be giving you raw to your own self-destruction. And that's part of the reason why, like, for me as a parent with 2 kids very much nowhere near adulthood yet, in my opinion, I don't want them to have that being an everyday thing. I tried to limit both my kids in terms of that because they need that. Everyone needs a amount of alone time that allows them to just reflect, think without hearing everybody else's opinion, and that they can formulate. And if they can, let's just say someone brought up good points, they can argue those points with themselves without the audience factor. Because like, when you have someone cheering for you, you're more likely to keep going because of that, reassurance that somehow what you're saying is good or at least accepted. So they maybe have to have those individual or personal conversations with themselves that may not be accepted by a large group, and they need to figure it out. By being in that space, you're always running, going. And yes, you can have a professional athlete who is involved with social media and stuff like that. But I feel like I have more ability to help my child, even as an adult, in that aspect than if it's social media. Because a lot of times you'll have athletes who will have handlers and do all that type of stuff. It's not necessarily someone who's going to personally be just sitting on the toilet after the game and now I'm just going to start spewing whatever I want and possibly get myself into trouble. It's not even that. It's, for me, I don't want them swimming in what can easily become a very toxic environment for that type of stuff. It's less so, like you mentioned, hey, we can have creative session for D&D. I think that's great, and I think some people can, but I think a lot of it, to me, still comes down to where are they at in a maturity sense of knowing who they are, growing up, and having that, like, you know, getting to that point like a lot of people get when by the time they're in 30s, is like, I don't care what you like. This is what I like. It's like, hey, why won't you try this? Because I don't like it and I've already done this. And I'm totally fine with missing out because I know what I like. And just having that self-confidence to just have those, like, conversations.
So I'm going to repeat the question. Would you rather have your child be a social media influencer or a professional athlete? As a child. So they're going to be a professional athlete as a child. So that means they're going to be exploited pretty much either way. Because if your child is a professional athlete and under the age of 18, there's probably only a couple sports. Gymnastics.
Soccer.
Because
they'll do those contracts with their...
Sure. Not in this country. In every other normal country, absolutely. I mean, Messi was 13 when he got signed. No, 11.
I think they also do that for certain baseball contracts, depending
Not in this country.
What else?
Because you have to be 18 to be able to get a minor league contract. Remember Justin Aldridge? Yeah. He played for the Mets.
I'd still pick, you know, even with framing that context more clearly. Thank you, Michael.
No problem.
I'd still pick.
By the way, I 100% agree with what you're saying if it was for your adult child.
Yeah.
Just for clarification, because that was the way this one was phrased. So.
No, it's because the competitive nature of whatever they're doing at the level that they're doing is teaching them some major life lessons as well. I think that they're going to learn how to win. They're going to learn how to lose. And they're going to learn these things pretty early in life. And yes, it's in front of an audience because they're professional athletes, but it's the same thing happens in social media, and they can be torn apart, you know, pretty quickly, actually. And it could be worse because social media is a pretty dangerous place right now, right? And it has been for a little while, but for a kid, especially, at least as you mentioned, those handlers, there's people around, like there's a support system for a professional athlete. And there's a future that can be provided, even if it is exploiting them. It's because, well, they're carving out their place in history and they're carving out, you know, a space for themselves in the future, perhaps. You know what I mean? So I think there's some good life lessons that they can learn just competing at that type of level. That's the reason.
I think they're honestly equal.
Sure. But you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one, influencer would probably be a better life lessons.
You think so?
Absolutely. Because you're not pigeonholed.
Okay.
If you're a professional athlete at a very early age, once you grow up out of being able to be that, whatever the athlete is, you're going to only have experience in that thing. So you're going to probably be a coach or a trainer for that sport.
Sure.
So like a gymnast, and I'm not just saying gymnast, but a gymnast or a swimmer,
golfer,
those skills that they learned while competing, not the, like we were talking about, like the you know, the maturity levels of life lesson type things, are only actually can be utilized typically in things that are either the same or adjacent to.
I'd say, yeah, sure. But but how many of them become motivational speakers and from competitor? Like, there's a lot of athletes that kind of go the leadership route
Tebow.
and then take that leadership influence because they've done it for so long and they have that experience from a young age where they can just jump right into that and be a guest speaker at this or that or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, you have people like, even with, you said adjacent, it's like, but then there's like people like Jerry West, the logo of the NBA. The NBA logo is Jerry West.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, and he was a player. He won MVP. In fact, he's the only player who won MVP for the losing team in the finals. And
that's skill.
That's really saying a lot. But then, he's helping run the league. And so, he's not, well, it's adjacent, but, in that sense.
So he still works for the league.
Right. But then you have someone like Magic Johnson, who owned his own businesses. And he actually made it a point at business meetings. He actually says, like, I'm not playing basketball. It's Mr. Johnson. And he had to establish himself. And yes, like, that's what he's associated with. But he had to carve out that space. But he understood what it is to get through the adversity and to compete in a very competitive thing, such as business, where it's like similar to, you mentioned the influencer. You're kind of sticking your neck out there for a greater opportunity or exposure.
Well, you mentioned that this leads them into a business aspect. That's what social media does if you become an influencer.
Sure.
So they're similar in that regard. That's why I think they put the two things together, because they are very similar.
Right.
You're also looking at the aspect of, because this is tailored towards your child being an influencer while they're still a child. The only type of stuff they could be influencing at certain ages, for instance, our children's ages, would be things that are only able to be viewed,
accessed
by other children.
Sure.
They're not going. Well, I know.
It's a whole other audience.
But that also, anyone at this table is going to be looking out for their child no matter which option they took, right?
My daughter watches all these YouTube things of like kids playing with dumb things and like those.
Mine has gotten
all that stuff,
but did for the longest time.
Yes,
absolutely.
So and these kids are making millions of dollars, or their parents, I should say.
The parents, they don't take care of them the same way they take care of actors. It's a whole other freaking thing. But it's ridiculous. It needs to be regulated better. But I think that once again, the same skills that you're learning, you have to know. Okay, so you have to learn your sport, right? Well, you have to learn what it is that you're doing.
Sure. You
have to compete. Well, you have to compete against all of your opposition in this. You have to learn how to overcome failure. We have to learn how to overcome failure. They're very much tit for tat.
The thing the athlete does that's over the influencers is they have to do that mentally, but they also have to do it physically. So what they're an
influencer for. It could also be physically.
Yeah, as a child, it's less likely, but yes.
You could have a young Hercules.
That's not healthy.
Absolutely.
But bodybuilding's a sport, so he's an athlete.
We still win.
Only if he competes.
But back then, there wasn't social media. It was the news. So.
But you see what I'm saying, though. Like I said,
on Fox 25.
I think they both kind of suck.
No.
I think we all agree on that.
I don't want to exploit my kid either way. So
I mean, unless it's a lot of money.
Right.
No.
And I get free tickets to the game.
Well, then you're not going to get any of our children's money.
When he puts his kid online and I throw mine on a tennis court or something.
I mean, that's between you guys.
See if you get that Xbox 720.
Let's see if you get that Gary Olson of a child as an adult. Where his parents took all his money.
Yeah.
Incredible actor.
Yeah.
A really good humanitarian.
That's still, he lost. I was just talking about the financial aspect.
Oh.
Anyway.
Financial aspect?
That's why you need a money tree.
Oh, there you go.
My God. The plug.
All right. So do you think it is better for the phrasing on this one is frustrating. Is it better to do helicopter parenting or free range parenting?
Problem is, it's in the middle. Like that's the problem. Like,
yeah, these questions are now second.
Look,
because
man,
extremes
what
don't.
it comes down to is, do you think it's better the way we were raised, or like a latchkey kid, or now where you can't go outside without the parent standing right there and watching them? That's basically what it's saying.
I think a lot of it still depends on your environment. I think when we first moved to where we lived, like that it was like there's a lot of people who live in this complex. I don't know any of the people here, and you know, kids being kids, it's like, hey, you want to come over to my house? Okay, which one? You know, it's like, where's my kid?
Right.
And one of the biggest things I changed from, you know, my daughter to my son is I actually and preventing him from having the phone that early, because I noticed it did a lot of damage with my daughter's development, to the point where it's like not having the phone is the temper tantrum to being more destructive because I don't have a phone, versus my son is like, well, I don't care. I'll play with my Legos as much as I'll play outside, as much as I want to be on my tablet and watch those videos of other kids playing. And you know what I'm saying? Like, he'll do all of them. And he seems to be more well-rounded in his activity. And so if he misses out on TV, it's not the end of the world. It's not some type of outburst or excessive tantrum. And the same thing in terms of like, okay, you have to do your responsibilities, you know. And there, you know, there's a significant age gap between them. But I was actually like, I kind of just like, you know, this is what we need to do. And now seeing that come to fruition, where it's like, wow, his behavior is much better. You know, not that he never gets in trouble. He's not an angel at all.
No childhood.
Yeah. And it's just, but seeing that more healthy relationship he has with people, especially, and then dealing with stress, disappointment, or, you know, when things don't meet his expectations. Oh, I thought we were getting ice cream today. I say, no, buddy, I said 2 days from now because I have to work right now. I'm not going to have time to take it. And then he's like, okay, when before he would struggle to know the day of the week, but now he knows in 2 days. Well, if today is Wednesday, that means on Friday. And so now he's actually utilizing his knowledge for the sake of those type of promises and actually planning ahead beyond, you know, the hour in front of him.
Yeah, I think that. So from what I'm hearing is correct. You gave more leash to your daughter, and there's some problems you saw, and you've helicoptered earlier on with your son, and you're seeing some independence as a result of that early helicoptering, I guess we can call it.
Yeah,
right?
I hate these terms, by the way.
The structure,
It's just, I'm feeding you what they're serving me, guys.
I know.
I mean, and we all know that there is a balance, and just, you know, per child, because some children are going to need more reinforcement, more personal touch than others, and vice versa. And also understanding that, you know, you as a parent are not the same with each child unless you are literally having your children at the same time, which some people, you know, they have twins and stuff like that, and that's its own challenges, or they have the one after the other and they're very, very, very close in age. Because like for me, there's a stark difference on how it was when my daughter was born to where my son was born, and it's 7 years.
Sure.
So 7 years, I've learned a lot of the hard stuff and made those mistakes. And then by this point, it's like, I already know how this is going to end up in general, because, you know, kids will act different. Sure. But it's like, I know he'll be fine if I let him cry. I know if this happens, this is the normal result. It's okay to do these things, when before you were still trying to, okay, am I going to break him? If I break her, am I going to break her if I don't or do something? Yeah.
Am I a horrible parent if I let her cry and see if she'll go to sleep after 2 minutes of crying?
It's like, please go to sleep though.
Right.
Why figure this out?
I think it's a delicate balance of both, as you said, but also when in their life you do that. So I think in the beginning, of course, they're going to be dependent on you. So you're going to have to be around for them. Fine. I think then you back off for a little period of time. You back off.
Right.
So then what you do in that case is let them explore the world, let them kind of knock stuff over, be curious, fine. Because when they're mobile, that's when you need to let them do that kind of thing. But then when they can talk and you need to kind of be there for them to like, you need to explain things to them a little bit more. You need to be there for them, that kind of thing. You hover a little bit more and then you back away. So I think it's like you have to go in and out of doing those things, but it's not just one approach or the other. Eventually you got to just let them go. So they have to be prepared for that. But as soon as they start exploring the world, you got to let them explore it. If you don't let them explore it, then I think problems come later on, you know, at a certain age. And I see that with my daughter and I see that with my son. My son is stuck on my wife. Like it's to the point where, you know, he's literally stuck on my wife. So it's
They have solvent for that.
yeah, he's going to be, he's going to be 2 in like, you know, in a little bit here. And like, she can't leave the room without him freaking out. And that's not good. Right. So, you know, I see that and I know that, but like, then again, in the grand scheme of their life as a child, their childhood life, okay, that's only going to last for X amount of years. And then that's never going to happen again, you know? So is it terrible? Well, you know, mothers like to be mothers. So I just said, the heck with it, let it happen, you know, and we'll figure out the rest and the therapy later. So
I think a lot of that can easily be figured out. And once again, I don't think that's a bad approach because of the age at all.
it all depends.
I mean, but there's a different
Therapy later.
therapy later.
Yeah.
I think that you'll have that point where he understands that it's not all about him and he realizes that, you know, mommy needs some time to just go to the bathroom without you standing in it.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
you can go play with toys while she's literally not in front of you.
Yep.
You know, and once you develop that type of stuff and you figure out what works for allowing his level of independence while still understanding the attachment that is the relationship of the person who gave birth to you, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily need therapy. I think you let it go too far.
We'll find out.
Everybody needs therapy.
More to come.
No, that's what therapists say who need money because they picked the wrong field in college.
They were too interested in humans.
It's like humanities
problem.
majors. Why?
Why did you?
You knew down that road.
Here's my thing. This particular option thing is a weird one for me because I hate saying it like this because it sounds so just douchey. I have an outlier kid. I don't have a normal kid.
Right.
Like, the kid does not do your stereotypical things. How can I explain that? Because both of you know what I'm talking about, but it's because you know my kid. You know what I mean?
Right,
You hear
right.
the stories.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay, come home from school. Do I tell them to do the homework? No, because it's already been established. You just do your homework. What are you going to do when you're done? I'm going to go chill.
Right.
Cool. What are you going to do when I go, hey, food, you're going to come and eat? What time do you know you have to come down to be able to go so we can go to swim practice? Cool. That's just how it's always been.
Right.
Now, mine isn't going to go outside and play. Not her cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right? But she has access to iPad and her phone. Right? Still plays with toys here and there. She's into beading.
It's good.
Does she mess around on screen time a lot? Yeah, nowadays kids do because it's required for their schooling.
Sure.
They're issued a laptop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's going to be a hell of a lot of screen time, my dudes. And is there a time frame when the phone cuts off?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Do I agree with it? No. But it's a compromise.
Sure.
Because I understand the purposes behind it, but I also feel that, okay, well, just have a couple repercussions give them enough rope to hang themselves with, have a couple repercussions, and then you won't have to do that. You'll just have a trust system and you move on from there.
Right.
But it is what it is. You know what I mean? So there's no need to helicopter because her free range movements is on the helipad.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying it like that. It's like there's no real opportunity to do either, because as soon as you go like, you know what the optimal thing would be to do? Oh, that.
Right.
Well, that's helpful.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And like I said, it's just, let's see another couple of years. Maybe things are going to change. I've been waiting for this other shoe to drop for like 5 years.
Right. Because
the way I look at it is typically if you're good at this time frame, you're going to go whoop, whoop, and you're going to go over here at this time frame, or vice versa.
Yeah,
typically the way. It's been good for a long time, guys.
There'll be something that comes up. Don't worry.
Trust me, I encourage bad.
It's gonna start with a relationship. My only thing
is, like, I don't feel like you're necessarily just free range. I think it's because you've been allowed to, or rather, the dynamic has allowed you to already shift to an older age bracket in terms of expectations. You know what this is, so now I shouldn't have to hold your hand. Like, how to use the restroom, but you're doing it on other behavioral stuff, especially as like a planned thing, and she's in general just follows through with it, which a lot of kids are still bucking and want to just do their own thing.
It's very simplistic. You teach them from a young age that when you do the nonverbal symbol for sit, they sit, and you give them the treat, and then when they hear the snap, they come when called, and they wait for the treat, and you just treat them like a dog.
Yeah, and to me, I would argue that's a level of helicopter, but not like, remember when we watched, Godzilla, and we were talking about Kong Skull Island? You're just not within that problem's reach,
right?
Because you understand sound tactics, and which, like, depending on what the child
back to tactics with this film.
but that's what it is. You're allowed to, in a sense, monitor from a distance,
right? Because it's hey, this is what I need you to do. Cool, go.
Let me ask you this though. Her mother,
right?
What's that style?
What do you want to do? Cool.
Okay,
I'll be over here. So it's very similar to me.
Right.
Which is, cool, bro. Do you, bro? You want to do something together? Awesome. Let's go do something together. What do you want to do? Sweet.
Right.
Well, I don't think you should do that because it makes me a little nervous. Blah, blah, blah. There's the overall is pretty similar, but when it comes to the decision-making aspects, helicopter was more closer to that side. Free range is more closer to my side.
Right. And there's always someone that has to helicopter in a family dynamic in some way, shape, or form, in some sense. I'm not saying mother or father. It could be a grandparent. It could be, extended family. It could be...
This is why I'm fucked up.
It could be teacher. It could be something like that. No, you didn't.
I only had one person.
You only had one person. But with that, if you and her mother are more aligned in not freaking out over the little things. Right.
Well, we may text one another about freaking out over it, but never in front of the child.
In front of the child. Then all the child knows is that type of temperament, that behavior, right?
Right.
It's a consistent approach.
So it's a consistent approach. Yes. Therefore, that kid is going to behave in such a manner, right? So it's not like they're getting mixed messages from one another. So it makes sense. What you're saying makes sense. It's not an outlier. It's raised that way.
Her mother and I are, I would say, 90% of the time on the same page.
Sure.
And the other 10% is discussed and then presented on the same page.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, that works.
Because you can't have a situation, in my opinion, where you have a separated mother and father and not be trying to be a team and end up with a positive growing experience for the child. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just, something's gonna bust somewhere, man.
Sure.
A lot of pressure building up
Yeah,
there.
it's just like, that's why her mother is an awesome parent, is because she fully comprehends that without even needing to be prompted by any means.
Nice plug there. Yeah.
I have so many jokes I want to say right now. It's not even funny.
Talking about children.
That's the joke. Really quick one. This is just a really like bop bop. Do you think it would be better for a traditional school for your child or a homeschool?
It's not a really quick one. I would say traditional.
Traditional.
I mean, I honestly feel like I would have homeschooled if I could both of my kids
Really?
for certain segment. And then what I mean is if I had the ability to just like, all right, kindergarten through second grade type of thing.
Basics.
The basics where I'm not depending on people's like standardized tests and this is the only way. And because, and it's not necessarily on the educators
It's so
either.
sad that no one can say this is the way anymore in this time frame in life without somebody in their mind going, this is the way.
They let those children die by the lake, okay? I don't want to hear crap about that.
Wow.
We're just gonna let this happen. All right. Great training,
wow.
guys. They learned something.
They weren't being helicoptered.
Yeah.
That was the helicopter coming
They
in.
definitely were considered free range.
But, you know, in terms of that, like, I feel because of the shortcomings in the traditional system, I think that would be the only time I would consider it, because I still believe in the more social dynamics that need to be worked out. It's like, someone's picking on me. Cool, because someone is going to pick on you, whether you're a child or an adult. What are you going to do about it? How do you handle those situations? And no one wants their kid to be bullied, but at the same time, like, it's going to come up. Because some people are not about always using negative reinforcement.
It's funny because you keep leaning
Why
toward.
is he glaring at me?
You keep. I wonder why. You keep
maybe
leaning
'cause I went
toward.
like this when I said it doesn't want your kid to get bullied.
I just like. There's a spectrum here because you keep leaning toward helicoptering. If you're noticing the trend with, you said the progression from your first kid to then a little bit more tight constraints with your second.
I think it's more of like, it's leading towards what Mike is doing, but understanding how quickly that kid's going to progress.
Sure.
I think your thing is you just want to make sure there's a really steady foundation.
And
You want to control the outcome, I think, is what.
I mean, the outcome's going to be what it is, but I want to.
You want to try. You want to have an opportunity to, though.
Whether it's straw, sticks, or bricks, the foundation isn't blowing away.
Right. You just want to make sure that you're influencing the fact that the bricks should be known as the best option.
And if they choose to put straw,
Right.
hey, man,
Right.
consequences.
But by homeschooling, you're taking away their right as a child.
If you could say that shit one more time to me.
There are many
The
empty
first-
holes that need to be
The
filled.
first video that has a punch.
But basically by homeschooling, it is a more protective approach because you're shielding them from the BS that they might be learning in a failed system, right?
Yeah, most of it though is just that.
Yeah, we
If
could
you
all
do,
agree.
like for instance, my daughter has a preclusion to being in the academic setting, so it's not like
Right.
you can't succeed. I was the same way. Like I was that kid who's like, why are we here? Why are we still in this lesson? Can we please move on? And in a sense, you were punished when I went to school. In the school system I went, I was punished because I already knew most of the stuff.
Sure.
And so I wasn't allowed to work on the stuff that maybe I didn't like or struggled with.
Ooh,
Right.
Ooh.
Montessori.
You mean kind of like how you're punished in adult life for doing a good job? Because
Yeah.
then you get more work
Yeah.
for the same pay?
And then they won't move
wow.
you up because we
wonder-
need you too much.
I wonder what that could be teaching us then in school.
Yeah, exactly it.
That life fucking sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and okay, so I think I know the answer to this question. So it's going to sound like I'm being a smartass for this question. Were either of you ever homeschooled?
No.
during a grade that's stereotypical that you would go to school?
There was a weird blend at one point, only because of a medical situation that kept me from attending school. So I had to catch up on my own. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
But you were there.
But it wasn't a traditional homeschool. You were more traditionally homeschooled.
I was.
I wasn't.
I was homeschooled for half of first grade, all of second grade, all of fourth grade, half of fifth grade, half of junior year.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely had some homeschooling things, and during those time frames, very different almost every time. There was some, I don't think I did a single thing on work in fourth grade. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't remember doing anything.
That's the grade they teach you how to spell.
No. That's second grade.
That's when they teach you gratefulness, positivity, allowing people to enjoy life.
That was fourth.
Fourth grade also is where, on the
cursive?
West Coast, it's cursive.
Cursive.
I still, as an adult, have a very difficult time reading cursive. Right.
Remember,
you can't write.
When you were like, what does that say?
Yeah, no, absolutely. My signature looked like a 5-year-old signature, like my official signature, until I was in my 20s. Mm-hmm. Until I literally had to take a day, go onto Google, and like look at how the things went, and went like, okay, this is how I'm going to do it, and go from there. Now, did you have any time frame that you were homeschooled? I'm sorry.
Most of mine wasn't that. It's just because in DOD schools,
right?
Like I immediately went to, like, for instance, in kindergarten, we had a family friend that she did do part of the kids were homeschooled, and they were all older.
Right.
And so her kids were homeschooled. So I literally had that hybrid, and it was just like, and then from there on, it was off to the races. I think the only thing I ever struggled with was math, because I didn't like how it was taught. But if you took the same mathematical, like, understanding all these formulas and put it into an application like science, physics, I am there.
Well, because then the formula makes sense.
Well, not only that, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
There's actually a 5 plus 5 is 10. Cool. I didn't gain anything from that. If you add half of this and half of this together to make 10 milliliters, this reaction happens. Mm-hmm. Now it's magic.
Yeah, right. Math in motion, essentially.
Yeah, math in motion, absolutely. Right. So the reason why I bring that up is that homeschool is amazing for certain aspects, in my opinion, where you can focus on certain like subjects that either you're good at or that you suck at, and really have them like jump up levels, right? But socially, it's a Mike Tyson uppercut to the face.
Yep.
And then you can argue it's it's emotionally learning how to manage emotions.
I would agree 100%. Now, can you supplement that? Yes, of course. Sure. You can have them involved in other types of activities. Things. Like I was in scouts. I was in Y-ball. I was in T-ball. I never played T-ball. I only played baseball. I was too big for T-ball. They wouldn't let me. They said I was too big.
You're one of those kids that's like, I need to see the birth certificate.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what
Bro,
he's not 9 years old.
I was 2 feet when I was born. Okay? They were asking for all kinds of credentials. Why does that 7-year-old have a beard? So, but because of that, I have a lot of personal hatred towards homeschool that I know is personal bias that I have to push to the side, because it's like, it's actually really good if you take it seriously and you hold up to a certain level. Now, if you're a single mother who has a douchebag for a son, hi mom, then it can be very difficult.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's the issue. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the best. So in this regard, I agree traditional school, but that's because not every kid is doing algebra when they should be learning how to do long division.
Yeah.
I was. That wasn't my issue. My issue was trying to communicate to somebody my age and not knowing what Power Rangers were.
Right.
Not being allowed to watch anything that had any kind of animation involved in it. Wanting to talk about music that was sung by Frank Sinatra when they were talking about Madonna.
Right.
Those were my issues. So those are my horror stories. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So to me, I'm like, social interaction is the most important thing. No, public school, a bad school, a school where they're going to get messed with, a school where they can learn how to fight back.
Yeah.
That's my like immediate response.
Yeah.
And that's why I argue for just the foundational thing. I think whatever struggles academically, socially at that point, like, it's like they can read, they can count, they know the calendar and how to do that. They can tell time off a clock, those type of things. And because it tends to be easier to find them at that age. What?
I could not tell time on a regular clock until I was like, oh my gosh, maybe like 15. I don't know what it is. My brain was just like, I don't get it.
Why is this existing?
I don't.
We have numbers, right?
Well, what time is it?
Which one's
I
little
don't
hand?
know.
Yeah.
Little to whom? They're both little to me. Like,
I mean, it's
sorry, you mentioned something that was a trigger.
It becomes less. I think it is a little bit less relevant today because most time format is not in that traditional, clock face way. But it's the same thing like long division. I don't need you to be a long division master. For me, I always advocate, it's like, cool, you know how long division is? Cool, now you're going to appreciate this thing. It's called a calculator. I want you to appreciate what's going on here. And it's not to be like, well, because I learned it, you had it. No, it's because you understand what's going behind the door, behind the veil of the Wizard of Oz. And then he's like, oh, yeah, that's just a bunch of...
But it's not like you're going to have a calculator with you in your pocket at all times. We
There
were
are
told
situations
as children.
Yeah, I mean, there are situations, but it's very extreme, especially in where we live.
Okay, my phone's over there. But
And
This is the exact situation, but you can access one right here.
my iPad's
right, but it's also based on a premise of that. It's like we live in this country where we have that access to it anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
But like I said, in general, like, yeah, that I just want you to know what's going behind the curtain. And once you understand it, it's like when I had to learn coding and stuff, it's like there's so many other suites of programs that make it go, and it's easier. Not that it's not work.
Learning HTML is very helpful when you're trying to do something, but they only have programmed X and Y because they never thought about the fact that you might want Z.
Yes.
But because you know how to do the HTML and they're allowing you to put that in, you actually can get it.
Yes.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I'm right there with it.
it's the thought process that goes into it, so you know how to conceptualize the problem, to look at the actual problem itself, and
To think,
right?
Yeah.
So that's
Look
why
at
you
brief
need
angle.
to. It really is why you need to show your work, so you can say, "Hey, you got to this point for that reason." I always hated that, but at the same time, okay, like, or you can just put it in a calculator, but that doesn't.
Yeah.
I know you know how to use a calculator. Great. But I don't know you know how to think through the problem. And I think that's the thing. And so I don't know. I think with homeschooling, traditional schooling, I feel like it's got to be traditional school, but you reinforce stuff that you want your kid to learn that they're not learning in school at home.
Yeah.
And you do those things, and you
that's a general,
take the time to do those things.
I take lessons now with the kid on how to talk shit.
There you go.
Because I think it's very important. She's about to go into middle school.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the first time, and I know this sounds like I'm trying to be funny.
Middle
I
school's
am
horrible.
being dead serious. She is about for the first time to go to a new building where she's going to have her posse, and there's going to be other posses from other schools of people that she's never met. She knows nothing about these people. She's been with these people for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about time that she's going to walk up to somebody and somebody's going to talk shit and she's going to be like, what? And it's like, you need to know where the line is. Talk shit, but you can't say certain things because it's like, oh, dude, this was like a jab and you went in with a haymaker.
Right.
There's rules to the engagement. Like, you know what I mean? And so like literally we talk shit to each other. And like, it's like, okay, cool. If I said this, what would you say?
So, yeah, it's like,
How would you say it, though?
it's practicing, well, this is a your mama joke. And then when you know that person's mother's dead and you say, yeah, well, your mother's dead.
And she's dead because she's a piece of shit and nobody wanted her on this earth.
Right.
There's a difference.
That's like, oh, that's not a joke.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we stopped joking.
Yeah. And that's when you have to also do the other lessons, which is like, ow.
I just thought you were having a seizure. I didn't. Was that fighting? Was that fighting?
It's fighting when you're leaning back and not really wanting to move, to be honest with you.
It's fighting when you take your large foot, step on their large foot, and then just swing. Now that's
First you immobilize and then you attack.
it's so hilarious. Like, just
We're going to switch kids for a couple of days so we can help each other out.
Oh my gosh. I mean that's the biggest thing. Like I said, the whole point is that they have proper development. And for me, the biggest focus is providing the foundation for them to think for themselves. When I tried to explain stuff to people, like not super technical to my job, and I'm like, oh, so the reason why I found this out was this actually connected to this, which connected to this. And you're like, how did you get there? It's like, it's called thinking. Like, that's how I got there. And now, mind you, in this case, I'm very generalized. I'm not telling you how I got from A to B to B to C. But if I literally could explain to you A to B, B to C, C to D, and that's why A is causing D's problem.
Transitive property.
And then someone's like,
It's my favorite property.
I don't understand how you got there, but if you can fix it. And I
hate that. I hate that. Don't ask me how to fix the problem, and then when I explain it, you can't figure it out, and you just go, cool, so if you could just do that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That pisses me off.
Yep.
But anywho, I digress. I like how that really was supposed to be a very quick yes or no question, and we took 35 minutes on it.
Oh, I knew that.
It was close to the heart for some.
Yeah. By the way, I have like 10 really great questions, and we're going to probably get through one more before I have to move on. Which will mean we got 3.
Roll a dice. See which one it is.
Do you think there should be a strict bedtime routine or letting your child stay up as late as they want? Because this one's going to be fun.
Well, I know what you think about that. I
want to go first?
I like the bedtime routine personally. Well, hold on. It depends on the age. Can we at least set like a parameter there?
Can I actually say like I don't like the phrasing on this, because routine versus going to bed whenever they want, I think is not correct, because I think there should be a routine.
Yeah.
But in my mind, the routine doesn't have a set start time and end time. That's my only parameter. I think there should be like, okay, we eat. When we take a shower, then we go ahead and we read for X amount of time.
Sure.
And then
I agree with that.
If you go to sleep, you go to sleep. If you don't go to sleep, then I don't want to hear any lip tomorrow, or else you will be starting to go to sleep earlier.
Right.
Yeah. You have consequences.
Right. But
Well, yeah.
you have to learn that
What you said, I disagree with.
I'm weird. I never had a bedtime.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I had consequences. The consequences was if I decided to stay up all night, then everything that was supposed to take place the next day, I had to still do.
Yep.
The consequence, though.
Adult consequences. If we stay up all night and we have stuff to do the next day, we're just doing it tired.
But the consequences, though, also.
You can't even read that, though.
As a.
No, it says like,
Scrunchy.
watch me.
O'clock. Yeah.
No, I just need a new one.
Yeah. The consequences.
My babies gave it to me.
They affect the parent, though. Because if the parent has to try to get the kid up, try to get the kid fed, try to get the kid out of the house, that's a problem too.
Yeah, but you kind of, when you decide not to pull out, you sign up for that.
I get that, but if you don't provide the structure initially,
right,
it's gonna make
then the consequences happen.
Yeah,
sure. So it should only happen once.
Sure, but
3 to 4 times realistically.
Typically, what happens though, realistically, is they screw up that one time. They have a hard day. They're tired as all hell, and they go to bed early that next day.
Oh no!
No, they're not.
No, they
allowed
don't.
To.
No.
Do you?
No, when I say early, I mean on time, not staying up late.
Can I talk about Hunch Punch real quick? Okay. It's your story. I just want to make sure. So, consequences sometimes extend to you being drunk and then forced to do manual labor in the yard with your friend helping you for 8 to 10 hours because it's a punishment because of what was done irresponsibly before.
Yep. Sure. That's adult consequences for adult decisions.
Right.
When you're talking just about going to bed late and then being tired the next day. It's
still going to depend on the child. Like, I'm the one with the oldest child here. My daughter does this. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And even then, I still have restrictions to the routine where it's like, oh, I want to stay up. Okay, you can lay in bed. I'm not making you go to sleep.
Right.
And it's like, well, what if I want to watch TV? Oh, no, your TV time already ended. Like, that TV time already ended. You can stay up as long as you want in the dark. It's like, well, why? It's like, because I don't want you ruining my bandwidth that I paid for. I'm going to play Mountain Blade. No, I really am joking. It's
being honest.
No, because a lot of times, like, for instance, my wife wants to watch
how much
TV.
His bandwidth is very, like, messed up. He has to, like, only download games at certain times because otherwise he gets notices for going over his limit.
No.
Do you know you have a limit on amount of download bandwidth you're allowed per month? Because I sure as hell didn't until this
Depending on your provider.
So. In 2020 is when I found that out.
Cox. I don't know what to tell you.
No, don't tell me that.
I mean, for me, it's because I know for a fact is that what ends up happening with my daughter is that she'll want to go out to the living room and then she'll want to stay up.
Sure.
Stay up with my wife. And then my wife's now interacting and now she's not going to bed at the time she's supposed to. And meanwhile, I'm now finally going to sleep. I tell everyone to go to bed and it's like, hey, I don't want to talk to you. No, I'm ready to go to bed because I know how much sleep I need to function tomorrow. Because you guys couldn't figure out, I'm not paying for that. You guys are. Your alarm's going to go off at the same time. And if you miss the bus and you miss school, I have a list waiting for you right here on my desk. That list is to clean up the whole house. Trust me, you will be doing something. And also, I have control of all the internet from my phone. I will literally turn off the internet. It's like, hey, let me know when you're done. Send me pictures.
Sure.
How would they do that if they don't have the internet?
Because they can still take the pictures and text me.
Sarcastic, you smart aleck. Jesus.
Yeah, but that's really, we're going to have different perspectives because as an older kid, as you get older, you're getting closer to adulthood.
Yes.
So therefore, consequences and things. If I don't establish a routine when children are young in some way, shape, or form, then they don't have one at all. And then there is no...
I'm feeling personally attacked.
No, not at all.
No, you are establishing a routine.
No. I mean, I don't, as an adult, I still don't have a routine.
Oh, you mean you as you're a mess.
Personally attacked. Not my.
No. Yeah, you're good there.
Neither.
No. You're a disaster when it comes to your routine. So this is what happens.
I don't have
the sleep schedule.
I honestly can't fight you on that.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Except for I'm very high functioning.
How much higher functioning would you be if you really zoned in on like sleep? That's what I wonder.
And like ADHD medication.
Like a standard amount of sleep, not necessarily.
Right.
Do you really want to see what I would succeed in? I'd probably be a politician. I could be your governor. Do you really want that, Chris?
Nah, just continue not to sleep, please.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nah, you could be the governor. You know why?
That.
You know why?
You can always move out of the state.
Yeah, one. Yeah, that's one thing. Two.
Live in a different city.
Two. Then I'll have all your BS mistakes on as public record.
You think you're going to be alive?
Oh yeah.
And then you're not going to be the true you.
It's a lie.
Oh, that is definitely a lie.
You'd be like Trump.
This guy runs on negative reinforcement.
No. I would have to be in like some weird like independent crap.
Yeah. Johnson.
I vote for crab crossings. What? Yeah, because that guy who parked next to us at the convention we have craps.
It's so funny.
It's like parked next to his car. I was like, oh, that makes sense, right next to my car.
And then it says, do you want them? It was really funny.
Pretty good.
But okay, so I interrupted you being a smart aleck. I apologize. So you're saying there was a routine though. Like, I get what you're saying with the routine, especially for a younger child. And I think we're all saying the same thing differently.
Yeah.
Because I do agree that there should be a routine. There should be you need to do this. And I don't even have a problem with it having to start at a certain time. Honestly, the kid, poor kid. She just had her routine totally flipped because she got older. And so she just got moved to a different thing for swimming.
Sure.
And so now, instead of it being from 5 to 6 every day, it's from 6:30 to 8 every day.
Sure. As parents, we're responsible for the growth and development
Professional athletes
of our child, right? So we want to. It's our responsibility to put them in the best position so they can perform the best, do the best, that kind of thing. So, having that type of bedtime is this time type thing, that structure at a younger age helps establish that. Yes, you can function probably better than most human beings without adequate amount of sleep, but I
did it for.
It is. Yeah, but it is scientifically proven that you need sleep.
Does have negatives
for retention and so on and so forth. But I do think that I do think that is important, and we need to try to establish that early on. And now, I agree with you guys. Consequences, they're a thing. Like, all right, you didn't tonight. Well, sorry.
Your life is going to be held.
Right.
Just like I said with the homeschool and wanting to do it to set the foundation, that's what the routine is. Once again, like how I explained it,
doing it early.
Whatever straw, sticks, or bricks you want to do there, you know how to figure this out.
Right,
and if you choose to put straws of a straw of an idea or a notion or an action, it's going to fall down. That plan, that expectation, like you didn't give the effort you needed for your swimming, don't expect first place. You know what I'm saying?
You're not going to get that little toy.
That conversation. Yeah. You don't bring up the ducks.
I'm just saying. That's what happens. That's a consequence. Duck you, Mike.
Oh my gosh, you're such a schmuck. You know what we're talking about with the ducks, right?
No.
Oh, so the way that they do it is that if you win your heat, you get like a little rubber duck.
I'm over this. I would have been like, we're done with this, Dad. I'm going to be a track star. What?
She is very proud of her ducks.
She's duckest.
No.
If you talk shit about the ducks that she's gotten.
I'm not talking shit about her ducks. I'm just saying for me, I'd be like, F this, Dad. I'm going to be a track star. I'm done with this sport.
He's duckest. I'm just saying. He's like the ducks.
I honestly understand how amazing to have it is to have an elephant duck.
Actually, I really do hate waterfowl.
Any type of bird in water. I don't do birds in water.
I hate waterfowl. Like, I literally do.
Slight tangent. Like, what about like eating duck?
How about
duck? Is delicious.
Can I ask you this?
Duck.
You've never had duck?
No.
How about a penguin?
I will fucking murder you.
Well, I haven't had.
What do you think about penguins?
I haven't had a penguin stop me from like getting across to pick up my son on time.
Doesn't like waterfowl.
Okay, hold up.
I haven't had.
Are you talking about sandhill cranes? Because those things are not waterfowl.
No, I haven't had.
What kind of fowls get in your way of driving?
Ducks.
Where do you have ducks that are like
right next to my son's after school
There
who
are
just chill by the
crossing signs? I bet that are there.
We're not allowed to do anything, and they will take up, and you'll have that one who's just positioned just right.
Even in
like he's like
ducks were like, no, we're good, bro.
Duck tastes fantastic.
It's freaking my favorite thing. I used to request duck instead of turkey for Thanksgiving every year, and because my mother is a wonderful human being, I would get a turkey. I mean, I would get a duck. It was delicious.
She never knew it was a duck. What?
Fatty? Of course you know it's a duck.
Yes.
It's actually a pigeon.
If that's the case, give me another one. I was about to say something and I totally forgot what it was. It was talking about the fact of that's what I was going to say. Sorry. I think that the problem for me is that it always comes back to, we can all agree that your own personal shortcomings are the things you try to make sure don't happen with the next one.
Right.
Right? So the things that made you feel that the way you ended up that you perceive as negatives.
Yeah.
Social things are my issue. Right? So I don't want my kid to have a bedtime that is not at least equal to that group of friends that they're a part of. Because I don't want to be providing a reason for them to be ostracized from their friends. Only because, and I know that's stupid, by the way, fully aware of that. Fully aware.
It's
but
not.
because
It's
I
not
was ostracized for other things that I'm like, I don't want to be the reason why you're able to get made fun of.
No, I wouldn't say that, because my thing is a lot of it just depends on who those people are. If they are a positive
good
influence on your child, then it's like, oh yeah, that's, 100%. If they're a bad influence, I think, no. And you let them know that I did it. And here's where I live. If they have an issue with it, come show up. Come find. What was that girl off of Dr. Phil? Catch me outside.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Do you know how much money she makes now?
Oh yeah, Bad Barbie.
Yeah,
she's all over it.
Yeah, last year she cleared $55 million from OnlyFans.
She is a social media influencer. And that's my point. Be an athlete. So that's that.
55 million.
I'm just saying.
That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
At 18.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
18.
How many of those were happening before then? I would not mess with that.
I just recently found out that she did this rap.
Yeah, she rapped. Yeah.
Because I never watched that kind of stuff. So that meme, I knew the meme, but I didn't know the context for like years because I don't. Phil? What the?
I mean, she bought her mom a house, I think. So
no.
But yeah, no. So that's my whole aspect with things. So when it comes to like the bedtime aspect, the kid has bedtime, right? But it's also kind of a soft bedtime,
sure,
because she just reads,
right?
And she's good after that point. The phone cuts off at 8:30.
Yeah,
I disagree with that. I hate that. But conversation, there you go. No problems. I respect the decision. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that needs to get changed now when we're about to be 11.
Well, that's what I mean. There are stages. It gets to the point where they get older and then they get more privileges.
Right.
And then you have to learn. Then you
That's
have to
been
deal
opposite. Mine's has been opposite, but it's been based on the behavior.
No, but see, that's different though.
Yeah.
I feel like that's I understand what you're saying. I don't want to say I'm saying like that's wrong.
Like for me, I think that is 9 o'clock, and mind you, that's half an hour before. It's like, why does my stuff cut off on 9? Because one, you need to start learning to ask for permission for stuff. So I'm gonna make you come ask.
Yeah.
Second is because every time I don't, you start going places you shouldn't.
Right. No, and
it happens at those times, and I'm not even trying to be that. In this case, used helicopter. I was like, I'm not trying to be that guy. Because one, it's like, dude, like you said, it's like before, it's like, dude, I don't have time. It's it's like, I am tired. I deal with demands all day. I deal with inspections all day. And then I have to be inspecting you for something you already know you shouldn't be doing.
Right. Well, I mean, and there's aspects of that. Don't get me wrong. The kid has had the phone taken away for multiple weeks.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. The worst one, oh my God, the worst one was that she has a TikTok account. She's allowed to make little videos for her and her friends. And her friends are like, I know them. You know what I mean? They're great little kids. They got good parents. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever, do you. Be inventive. And then she posted a public video. Here's the worst part. She posted a public video. Do you know how we found out?
It showed up in your feed?
In her mother's feed.
Oh, I was close.
While she was downstairs.
While the video was being made.
Right afterwards. And here's the thing that was so annoying, is that at that point in time, she had been doing like super good. Hadn't done anything like that for like months and months and months. If she would have came down and said, hey, a couple of my friends are allowed to do this now. Is it possible I could do this? Odds are, it would have been like, all right, I guess, but let's just also look at them first, just be on the safe side. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been like, let's go ahead and try it. But because she didn't, had to take the phone away, had to take the app away, and then there was a gift-giving holiday that was like the next week, and she got a nice new ring light from some people. No, not for me. No. But like multiple things that were involved in the thing that now she had been taken away from. And it was just like, see, kid?
Looks like you got a new ring light, Dad. Yeah.
No. No.
Wait, you were just talking about taking advantage of your child's success, but
There you
now
go.
like it comes to actually doing it.
I have way better lighting than she does. Like, you saw my lighting.
You're just smug and arrogant. Never mind.
I don't buy her the good stuff. It wasn't even RGB. It was purely. It wasn't even like a 5500 Kelvin. It was like it's a warm light.
It was like a 27. 27. What are you supposed to do with a 2700?
Listen, she'll get it when you're done using it, Mike.
I love that I can say temperatures and you actually know what I freaking mean.
I would never use 2700 unless it was somehow a freaking soap opera drama crap, that super warm palette.
We need to move on to the actual meat and potatoes now that we've been talking about this for like an hour and a half.
I mean, we have been talking about the meat
I know,
potato.
no. The meat and potatoes of this whole thing.
No.
How weird are these freaking kids, man?
They are strange.
Like, I understand that having technology at their fingertips in a way that we as children could not imagine is going to have an effect.
Sure.
But oh my God. Like,
My son is,
why are they not way smarter than us?
well, they could be. The thing is, they and I think they will be. But like my son right now, he's under 2, and I can see him with the phone. He has a phone, which is another thing, but it's a tablet.
Question.
But like baby
Question.
size.
Question.
Yeah.
Boo this man.
I'm not about to boo. It doesn't have like phone access though, right?
No. It's
It's a mini
it's a
tablet.
deactivated phone.
It's a mini tablet,
It's an
essentially.
appropriate sized tablet for a young
Yes.
child.
No, we're just
It's the scale.
It's an iPod Touch.
So he watches
Oh,
his
no,
he
please
watches
don't.
his JJ on it, right? He likes like Coco Melon and all that.
Hey, bro, remember?
All about that.
But remember, I'm so far removed. I know what Coco Melon is. I do not know what JJ is.
It's like
Wait, is it the little like big head baby
big with a little
little curly coo
thing. Yeah.
I do know JJ. Okay,
Yeah.
Get him onto Bluey.
Oh, he's on Bluey. He loves Bluey.
I have watched every episode of Bluey, and I will watch them again.
He loves Bluey. So he watch those shows, and he just watches it. But I watch him. Man,
It's so bad for you, dude. Bluey is like the freaking show that I wish I grew up with. It's,
Mom. And so my son sings that song.
so do I. Yeah. Here's the thing. It's a wonderful show, and it's the first time ever in a kid's cartoon show that parents aren't the butt of the joke.
Right.
They're actually loving, caring, interacting with their children.
And there's some like, I wouldn't say adult themes.
Oh, you mean like Caillou BS that they had? Oh my gosh, that cancer-ridden.
I don't even know. I don't know what that is. I don't allow that in my house.
No, all he does is throw
sounds boring.
tantrums and stuff, and it's just like,
And then gets his way with things too.
and gets his way with things, and it's like, and then you wonder why all of a sudden you'll show these type of shows, and it's like, oh, that's acceptable.
That was a brief stint, and then even my kids lost interest in like, yeah, this kid's annoying.
Yeah.
That was it. Like even my kids were like, nah.
He looked like Doug with cancer.
Yeah, no way. No, but what the heck we were talking about? You said Doug
You know I'm right though.
threw me off. But you're
You're talking about
100%
your
right.
son. He's swiping.
Yeah, so he's swiping, he's picking the videos.
Not
I'm like,
pretty enough. Not pretty enough.
what I'm
Lives
watching
too
this
far
happen.
away.
What I'm watching happen though is his dexterity is getting really good, and he's like able. I'm like watching his finger do this, which is not a skill that my daughter had at that same age. I'm like, this is interesting, and like he's really like learning. So that I'm watching the application of that into how he's holding a utensil, how he's holding a crayon. Like his dexterity has gotten so much better.
You know what?
Interesting.
When you say that, Cora has had a drawing ability better than my own for like 5 years, 6 years. And I think a lot of that could come to the fact of the small muscle aspects of being able to draw things. I can show her how to draw something like once or twice, and she's like, I got this. And it's, it's kind of minute muscle memory stuff. So I like that does correlate.
Right. Now, I don't know about neurologically the rest when it comes to what they're being exposed to and so on and so forth. But
I mean, I exposed my daughter to like tons of like cute cat videos.
Yeah. My daughter's watching
otters.
videos in different languages.
My son does that.
Like, that's so interesting.
I was like, what in the Arabic is going on here? And I can understand what it is. I've heard Tagalog at times coming through there, Korean, Chinese, Japanese. And I'm like, what the heck are you? Mm-hmm. And he's just like, bro, you need subtitles? Like, he looks at me like somehow I'm the crazy one. I'm like,
kid ever gave me that look and said, oh, you need subtitles? The backhand that came from my
yeah.
Oh well, when he was really into that stuff, and it's like, cool. Hey, spell your name. Yeah.
Wow.
He was really young.
That's freaking awesome. I love that. And then he actually gets it right, and it's like, all right.
Cool. Now spell the other names.
Exactly.
Because my son has 4 names.
You know you have 15 middle names.
His full name is 4 very long names. His first name is the shortest name, and it's only 5 letters.
Yeah.
It's only 5 letters for his first name.
Right, but one
then
of
he
his
has
last names is only 5 letters.
6.
Oh.
Yes. When you actually spell it in your mind.
Plural.
Yes. It's 6, but his other 2 names are longer than my first name. So it's like 9, 10 characters. So he has a really long name. It's like, yeah, I could do, the easiest one. Do the whole one. You don't have enough paper.
So don't forget the accents.
Oh my God. P.S. If you don't like any of the spelling of all the other 3 names, the last one's the only one I picked. I couldn't change the last one. The other 3 is her fault. No.
We have that documented, right? Okay.
Yeah, documented.
That's all that she asked us to get documented.
What the hell's a tilde?
Calm down, Elon.
It's funny.
Weird ass fucking names.
Hey, at school today, Dad, I learned what a diphthong is. A what?
Get over here.
How dare you say that? Let me call your teacher. Oh.
Drop kick. Fucking. All right, now here's a fun little question though. And I feel like, unfortunately, Chris, you're probably not going to be able to be as involved in this one.
Sure.
Have you had your children correct you on a... Really?
I've had my children.
Good job.
Wow.
Made them a
participation trophy over here for this one. In the shape of a duck.
Didn't have to do much.
In the shape of a duck. A very sickly duck, because it's the participation one.
He also had
the Caillou version.
You duck.
Okay. I'm black. Have you had your child correct you on like what something is called? Because the thing that you grew up calling it is no longer politically correct to say.
Bannister.
Oh, that's your kid?
Should be falling down the stairs next to that banister. There's no cameras in here. I would have installed them. No. I'm trying to think.
See, this happens all the time at work for me. All the time.
What?
At work.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm talking about from your kid, though.
No, not my kid.
That's what I'm saying, though. That is when you're
It's
like...
a different generation, but...
Absolutely, but when it's your child, you're like, no, that's not what it's called. It's called this. It's like, no. You're not allowed to say that anymore. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
Interesting.
No, now she has brought up to me when like her grandparents have said stuff, but not like to me. It's like, that's not allowed, Dad. It's like, no.
Do you give like the whole like it's from a different generation, or do you just go like what's your response to that?
Suck it up. You're in their house. And even then, if I had an issue, I would just leave. But I have that ability. It's like, I can be like, all right, have a nice evening. And I'll just leave if I felt some type of way.
I feel you.
You know, but I'm not going to disrespect them in their house. You are at their house. And understand, like, things are different in that sense. But have you ever seen them act in the type of way that would make you assume and come to this conclusion?
Not
No.
Your parents are awesomely nice.
Yeah,
people.
like, it's not going to happen. It's like,
I mean, they're a little excessive with corporal punishment, but
for the most part, like,
I'm never
and
gonna
most of the
forget
time, it's not based on
that freaking front area.
societal area, like areas.
wasn't even drunk.
It's more like,
I'm not getting over this.
no, you're not. Someone had to give you some punishment.
I was
Remember?
moving that
But
day.
didn't we talk about this? It's like no one was there to enforce stuff with me, and then all of a sudden,
He was homeschooled. Huh?
someone shows up to enforce it, and all he does is bitches complain.
He was homeschooled.
I was like 22 years old.
Dang,
No, I was 20.
you were 22.
I was 22 years old.
Yeah, you were
I was
22.
Yeah. I was
were
like,
right.
wait a minute, let me think about
I
this.
actually
Like,
remembered correctly. Yes, you're doing great.
No, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
that form of discipline was effective because he remembered it and it stuck with him.
But I've gotten drunk so many times since then.
You are heavy.
I had never gotten drunk before that.
But you know, like even then, it's most of the time you are heavy. He is very,
Pot calling the kettle black over here.
yeah, but you don't carry me. I had to carry you.
I remember.
Yes,
I have photos.
yes.
Oh, we carried you too. Or no, you helped carry me too, is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot of people that carried me now I think about it.
Well, let's not talk about like video games and other aspects of life, but when it comes down to it, the corrective stuff, it's most of the time it comes across as stuff for like academic or like I learned this stuff in history. Did you know that? I'm like, yes. And they're like,
Oh.
what? And it's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, what's wrong? It's like, oh, never mind. It's like,
I didn't say I didn't want to know. Come
yeah,
on, dude.
it's like, what
you got?
is there something else? Or it would be like, oh, I learned this in math. I was like, that's great. I was like, so that really played into the stuff I taught you. And then she gets quiet because I mentioned that I actually helped her get to the point where she's at. And it wasn't to down her. I was like, oh, so you see how that all interconnects and why I was telling you to do it a certain way?
So you were doing I Told You show? I wonder why she got quiet.
Daddy's always right.
No, it's just daddy's not dumb.
Well, subjective.
Yeah, dumb. Didn't you play that board game, Daddy's Not Dumb? No, I did.
Did you make that board game?
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
No. It's made of leather.
It's
It
either
involved a lot of
shoe
running.
or a belt.
Here's the thing. I ordered it. It never showed up.
Yeah. Must not have been at home for that day of school.
Yeah.
Had to do groceries.
Somebody went and get milk and just never came back.
He was churning butter at the neighbor's house.
Wow. That is so more accurate than I think any of us are actually aware of. Dude, he's like this fucking big. Like, I don't know, man. A little tiny man that sings show tunes and all kinds of weird shit. I don't know.
See, you could have been taking this whole thing a completely different way.
Oh, I know.
It's like
But hey, if we're going to...
turning butter at a neighbor's house. Like, oh, that's so accurate. That's exactly what I was doing.
No, we're talking... No. We're talking about my father.
Oh. Yeah.
Yes.
No, thank you.
We got it.
Yes. Yeah, no, I
Make
got
sure
that.
you're on board.
I get that.
Okay, cool.
But I get that.
They don't.
But to them,
They were able to follow the logic.
you're talking
No,
about
you're
turning
assuming
butter.
that someone understands the A to B, the C to D thing.
Yeah, we already talked about the transitive property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an assumption.
But see, I have had the kid give me multiple, like, it's not called that. Or like, oh, well, we can't say the word suicide. I'm like, oh.
That comes from what school tells them they can and cannot say.
Absolutely.
From someone saying it
Here's
in
the thing
class.
that was annoying to me, though.
Right.
We graduated with her PE teacher.
Mm,
Bitch, I know what you used to say. They're called suicides. Shut the hell up.
Right.
Up downs are something different, dumbass.
Right.
If you would have showed up to practice more often, you would have known that. Anywho.
And that's why you lost.
No, but like I do. I found a couple of those kind of things that are pretty funny. Like I said, I'm sure you'll definitely have some of those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter thinks she knows what she's talking about right now, but she doesn't really know anything.
I have heard her do the whole, no, Dad.
Yeah, she tries to
like attitude is gonna get you.
She's got that. Yeah,
man, mine doesn't have any attitude.
No,
I've been trying for years.
I know.
She's finally getting a little like witty.
She's getting a little witty. She's witty.
Yeah,
She's just gonna have that like even keel, like insulting you back, but
she's gonna be very monotone with the insult. Like, well, no, she's not.
like
going
all
to
of
be.
this doesn't move. It's only the bottom. Just her mouth is moving. Not even like any
facial expression.
Yeah,
or nothing.
The minimum amount of facial muscles to like actually get it done. That's all she's gonna do.
The man's been singing almost his entire life into microphones. He can't figure out how to hold it in front of his face.
I'm used to stand.
You can stand.
It's different when I sing.
It is different when I sing.
Sparkly, silvery voice comes out in a different mind. Anything else that you can think of for the weirdness of these? Well, actually, I do have a question. Personality-wise, or not personality, just like you're the only one that truly has, without like questioning, a Gen Z and a Gen Alpha, because your daughter is definitely Gen Z,
right?
Outside of the obvious, they're different people,
right?
Do you really notice, like, because of like the way that they're growing up with like their social groups or anything like that, that is fundamentally different?
I feel like the Gen Z group is more. I feel like it's a little bit more destructive, like at an earlier age.
Okay.
And in the sense,
Self-deprecating or destructive to
That's
others?
what I
I think it's destructive, like destructive behaviors and stuff. Like a lot of people, like that I've seen, where all of a sudden my daughter comes back with stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, I want you to meet my friend. He's really nice. And then I see the little girl standing before him. I'm like, where is he? He's right here. I'm like, okay, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We haven't had this conversation, and we're not doing this right now. To like things, it's like, for me especially, it's because I don't, when it comes to those issues or major life or viewing of life and people issues, I don't want that in an educator's hands.
It doesn't need to be.
Yeah. And for me, it's like, okay, now we can have the conversation when it's like, hey, Dad, when your daughter comes like, I kind of like this boy. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to kill a child. I need to have a conversation. Let me talk to and let me talk to my wife. We're going to have this because I'm going to choke this whatever age it happens to be. And you're trying.
4-year-old.
Yeah, you heard him say
4-year-old
choke a 4-year-old, right?
Oh, I was there.
Punting.
It's good. Kid, Sebastian, under the sea. I'm going to hold him there.
You didn't need that much water, though. He's not that big.
It's overcorrect.
It's a puddle.
Is this the new Sebastian or the old Sebastian?
Oh, my Lord.
I just need to know what accent to do.
Crabs.
We did say.
Do you want some?
I think those are the reason why, for me.
That's a good topic, though, for a different time as well.
No, but those are the ones where it's like it hasn't been introduced. Like, and my parents said that the same thing to me. It's like, hey, we didn't have any issues. This wasn't an issue. I was like, what are you talking about, Mom? It's like, you never mentioned anyone's skin color until you started going to daycare. That was not a thing.
Yeah.
And within 3 months, you were talking about how that person's white, that one's black, that person's brown. And I was just like, really? It's like, you didn't say it in a bad way. It's just not a concept we did not introduce to you.
They're teaching it at pre-K now.
Yes. And to me, that kind of defeats the purpose, especially when you have a lot of volatility in the standard of what we're talking about. Different ideologies at play. It's like, well, how do we approach this? Well, I think we should do it this way. Cool. I might not want to do it that way or do it at that pace that you're trying to do it.
Right. Agreed. I think that this is a tough one because, when you start telling people that they're different and pointing out those differences, they believe it. And then that's you're literally planting the seed for all the nonsense crap of cancel culture and all this other kind of thing. And this is literally happening like at my kids' school. Like, I know this for a fact that someone who I won't name, I know, is a preschool teacher, and that's what they told me they were doing. Oh yeah, we're, oh, so-and-so is this color, so-and-so is this color. And they were like going over like kids in the classroom, like examples, right? And like, oh, so-and-so is, and it's like, but now you're teaching them to identify differences. But then you can't say, oh, well, yeah, but we're celebrating those things. You can do that, but you can just celebrate people as people, not talk about that kind of stuff. And then they will figure those things out in life, obviously, anyway, but don't do it in a school setting.
And I've seen the negative when it's that young of an age, because a lot of times there's not a complete understanding of nuance and context. And as a story, this happened during like 2020, 2021. There was a schoolgirl who was in early elementary. I think she was only in first and second grade. She loved to color and draw. They started saying, this is, elementary, hey, I want you to draw this of you and your friends, and I want you to write, now this is what I don't agree, Black Lives Matter on top. I was like, you can't be teaching kids at that young of an age without context.
That has a political connotation. It
right, and of any kind. Like, dude, you're trying to teach them primary colors, you're trying to get them
or any type of thing that's being
hey,
kid has a beige crayon.
It's a public school, by the way, so it's like, hey, you should do into the Islamic help center, and it's like, no, don't put that, not because there's anything wrong with it, but because you're not trying to be a player in this situation.
You shouldn't write God bless either
on the top.
No.
Now, if you want to send your kid to a religious school or private school where they have those standards,
sure,
you signed up for that.
Yeah, you choose to do that.
Between government and private. So.
Right. Yeah. So she does this drawing, and she doesn't write that. She write all lives matter, for the sense of when she drew her friends, all of her friends were different colors. And she goes, not all of my friends are black. This one's brown. This one looks more like a tan. And she wrote that. The teacher immediately, now mind you, this is a first grader. They punished the child by preventing the child was not allowed to draw the rest of the year. Do you imagine how much that hurts the development of that child? Worst part is they didn't tell the parent that was going on.
Yeah.
And that's the part that just blew, like, I'm like, if that happened, you guys better move the entire school district. Because if I find you, that's not fair to anyone's child.
Sure.
To do that you would give some type of punishment without notifying the parents about it, one, and then immediately jumping to this is what we've talked about before, and when I've came before, was the whole how it's somehow your political, religious, whatever your belief is or opinion, all of a sudden is integral to whether I will treat you respectfully or not. That you're a human being or not, because you voted blue, you voted red, you happen to believe in this cross or in this whatever ideology, this idol, this statue, or none at all.
Thank you for inclusion.
You're welcome.
And that's really what it's you're affecting the kids. You're punishing kids. Essentially, you're an adult boxing a child at this point. If an adult started physically attacking the child, everyone would get upset. How are we not upset when they're psychologically damaging the child that way?
Right.
At that
you
age?
Can't prove a psychological scar. It's the only reason why there's no visible damage. It's the only reason.
Therapists.
And I think,
just like doctors.
I think the worst part is when you hear that these offenders in these stewardship positions and they don't have their own kids at the same time, and then they're telling you, well, I know what's best for your child too. And it's like, you know what? When you go out there and you stop on this whiteboard with X's and O's and arrows on how to run this play, and then you're actually put the helmet pads and you're looking at that 300-pound guy that's going to try to tackle you, it feels different.
Right.
and you see things in a different way. It doesn't mean you shouldn't plan. It doesn't mean you can't be helpful, because maybe at times from the box you can see things that you can't see on the field. But that also applies in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
What I see on the field might not be what you see from the box.
Now, I'm quasi going to be playing devil's advocate here, so don't let your leg jump down my throat, either of you. But what
You did unhinge their jaw that one time.
That one time.
What?
I was broke. But what about, and this is a
You're just giving pushback.
Yeah. What about that kid that comes from that like clan family?
Mm-hmm.
That kid's not going to get any positive knowledge from a home life about other anything. If we don't allow there to be any communication in the school, then they won't have anything. The kid's a lost cause.
He's a lost cause anyway, and I'll tell you why.
I don't disagree with you.
Because, yeah, it's a family thing, but as soon as they start teaching the kid something different, and then they go home and say, yeah, so-and-so is, and using the brown crayon to draw the friend, that kid's going to get its ass beat, number one. And that's going to create perpetuate the cycle of abuse and so on and so forth. And, theoretically, I'm taking your hypothetical and I'm applying another hypothetical.
That kid gets the shit beat out of him. And he goes to school the next day with bruises.
Right.
So now he's taken away from that family that was abusing him and put into foster care that we're going in this situation works out well. Gets adopted by somebody else.
Sounds like a lot of therapy.
Does. Sounds like a lot of therapy.
All of these, it's a Ponzi scheme.
But
they literally create the problem.
They're doing it intentionally.
Utilizing the word of the evening, the transitive property, learning about the classmates' cultural differences led to something very bad that's then led to the possibility of something very good.
No, yeah, I think that's true. But
I agree with you. I feel like there has to be some sort of
age?
like... Right.
Yeah,
that's my point.
And that's the worst part is there's no right answer because every single child is different.
There is. Write it into the curriculum at some point.
It needs to be at some point.
Write it into the curriculum at some point. That's fine.
But if
you're following the curriculum,
point,
right?
Yeah,
you're following the curriculum, and that's the thing. These things need to be thought about ahead of time, and teachers shouldn't be able to put their own spin or their own viewpoints into the curriculum at certain ages, at certain
I agree with
points.
That.
Now, when they get a little older and teachers can then have more dialogue and back and forth, and it's not, let's say it's high school age, there should be some back and forth.
There should have been that a lot earlier than high school.
Earlier than that, but let's just say it's an age, right? Where it's like, they're still minors. It's still,
you can generalize it.
Right?
I'd rather it be slightly later than where it's supposed to be than slightly before.
Because they've already had, they're equipped to deal with it better because they've maybe saw it in their life beforehand, and then they get to talk about it later on. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. Like while you guys were talking earlier, I was trying to think about when I learned about what I was versus what so-and-so is. That conversation never happened.
No, never was talked about.
I grew up half in my house and half into the Mexican family's house next door.
Sure.
And, for a while I lived in Idaho, so there was like everybody looked like me.
And you grew up listening to R&B and hip hop stuff.
Our friend. See, I can mess up too, Jonathan. My fault.
Yeah.
Not as bad though. When we grew up, we had a very colorful friend group. Literally all kinds of things.
Yeah.
I mean, in college, I was the token non-Puerto Rican person in the house. Because all of it was all us. It was just like there wasn't... I just don't think that was a very... I don't ever remember being taught any of that crap. Obviously, it had to have happened at some point in time.
No, I think it was just through life experience.
I think that's the thing.
So that's why exposure. It's weird to me to think about it.
But you don't necessarily. I feel like once you try to spell it out, then it becomes.
It can become a bad thing.
It can become a bad thing
because when you don't talk about, not that you don't talk about it, but when you don't make it a thing, it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just.
Right.
When you're bringing undue attention to something.
It's kind of like what I've talked about before with how I feel about like certain movies. It's like, oh, you have the gay guy there. And it's just like, there's nothing wrong with being gay, but literally the only depth you gave to the character was his sexuality. There's nothing else going on for this character. Why are they here? And why are you making them a big deal? Like when you lead up to it, it's like, they're so amazing because of their sexuality. It's like, but what else do they do? Are like, how are they involved and how are they progressing what you're trying to send beyond the check in the box? I'm not going to like that character as much as if you had a character that looked just like me and did nothing, I'd be like, I didn't like that character. Why? Because they did nothing. They just were there. The check in the box.
Right.
Unless your name is Rodriguez, and then you're doing everything somehow.
Rodriguez is the best. I mean, come on, man. Yeah. It's not even a fair question. But it's kind of like when they hired the one, and I'm going to say it, and it's going to sound demeaning. I don't mean it like that. I just don't know her name. But they hired the one chick to take over for Blizzard. They did not hire her. Well, she lasted for 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
They did not hire her because of her, like catalog. Let's be realistic. They're going through a huge sexual harassment lawsuit. Yep. They hired her because she was a woman, which is super insulting. And they hadn't fixed their problems yet. So she bounced in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. There was a panel that she was on where a dude, I hate the phrase mansplaining, by the way. I absolutely hate that fucking phrase. But textbook. Well, let me answer that for her. He was a subordinate for her. And I'm like, dude, this just proves that your culture hired her as a scapegoat, my guy. Like, dude, that's just... Come on.
The other thing I find is that, you know, when someone uses those phrases, I don't want my kids being taught those phrases because it's like, what do you mean? Are you referring to like man? Like mansplaining. Sorry, I'm going back to like how that applies to the children. It's like, oh, you're mansplaining. It's like, yeah, my mom, she was having trouble with something, and then my dad said, like, oh, your dad was that. It's like, you say that to my child, I will take you to court. Like, I will do whatever it is to disrupt your life because you're disrupting my family now. Because I don't need you to put that negative connotation on me. And when they don't understand that fully, that dynamic between a husband and a wife yet, that's what you're trying to show them. And now you're the peanut gallery. And 9 times out of 10, you're single, you still don't have kids, and you're trying to tell them how it is to be married with kids. I don't want to hear from him. It doesn't apply to everyone. But it happens enough that those tend to be the loudest voices. And it's like, so all of you married teachers out there who know it, or how about this? All you teachers who actually have kids and understand how other teachers can affect your kids. I'm not applying this to you. I'm talking about the raging ones who make TikTok videos that just scream into microphones at their phone inside a car randomly to explain how their life is always so hard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask this question.
Have you seen a therapist about this, Jonathan?
Then we're gonna end this one off once again, because when we're together,
got a number
we're all long-winded. Have you seen on TikTok the one chick? She has like neck tats, like pretty predominant neck tats, and come down to like chest. Black hair. She's kind of pale, but like looks kind of goth metal. Anywho,
you could definitely see her on a motorcycle at some point.
Are you talking about the one who like features their child, like talks about their child?
No, it's not a parent. Not a parent.
Not a parent.
Not a parent at all.
Okay.
She is the most realistic feminist.
Oh, I think I know.
The one that is like, you asked for this and men did this. and then you asked for this, and then men did this, and you're still complaining. Like that type of person.
Yeah.
That literally says the stuff that if we said right now, we'd get yelled at for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She has a lot of really good things when it comes to like those types of phrases and stuff like that, which is really, really interesting because you do. Obviously, I'm saying it's interesting because it's somebody of the opposite gender who's saying the things that I feel. So it's like, wow, well, it's interesting for me. And I get that that's very nuanced. But it's just like, it is kind of interesting hearing it from somebody on the other side.
Yeah. No, that's 100%.
You know?
I feel like those type of things being taught to kids where literally same thing, like the gaming example with someone's cheating. There's no way you can do that. No, you don't see a way. Hence why you'll never get this good because you can't explain how I can be good. Sure. Because you can't reach my level of success. Instead of trying to go, hey, how did you do that? Or at least try to emulate what it took to reach that level of success, you have everybody constantly making excuses. And the way it happens now, and it's being cycled through our schools to these kids, is through identity politics. 100%. Sure. I don't need you to tell me, well, you have a disadvantage, son. It's like, why? Your dad happens to not be Caucasian. I don't need you telling my son that. Because my son's going to be successful based on his own merit. And that's what I teach him. And it's the same thing for my daughter. I don't need you to tell them that at all. My kids, when they stand next to me, do not look like my wife at all. In fact, she gets a little insecure at times about it because they look so much like me. But guess what? That's their mom. Never not be proud of where you came from and who you're from.
I always forget that about you.
Yeah. And for me, I've never, ever tried to being mixed. And you could attest to this. That's not a thing where it's like, well, you're leaning into the X side. It's like, what side? It's all the same blood flow through the body. Yeah. You are who you are, all parts of who you are. And that includes the cultures and everything else that leads up to you. Now, where you want to go with that is still up to you. You have your own agency. I'm here to give you the tools to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big things is that based upon what your children may look like and based upon what their teachers have met of parents, they may make assumptions that are incorrect completely.
Yeah.
Because they could assume that neither of your families are, mixed race families.
Mm-hmm. A kid did
Is it right to say mixed race or interracial?
I said interracial at the training thing I did, and they didn't yell at me for it. So.
Okay, cool. Because, here's the thing, like, real junk, 10 years ago, if you said mixed, that was like an insult.
Right.
But now,
like
everyone
nuts,
only says mixed, and no one ever says interracial anymore. The only time you hear the word interracial is on different types of websites.
My thing is, I'm not...
the ones that you clearly know about, so, yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
I go with mixed because it's one syllable.
Interracial to me sounds like you're trying to be pretentious.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I did it yesterday.
I just like, I don't like people who call me, it's like, oh, you're a person of color. As a color person, it's like, can you stop saying that? Why is this even a thing? Because
you are like an olive-ish.
I've had people come and say, it's like, you should understand. I was like, no. Now you're making assumptions. You don't know me. You don't know what I've seen. And I almost guarantee you I've seen more. I've almost can guarantee you, it's like, I've lived in one place my whole life. And so you should understand me. It's like, I have not lived in my whole life in one place. I have seen the sunset over many places.
The thing that's so funny is I think I remember the last time that this happened because he called me right afterwards.
Oh, from work?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He was so pissed.
Please don't call me that.
But I've always considered you my friend of color.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Just call me by my name.
Yeah. I had in my this is my daughter's not very old, but it was funny enough a year or two ago, I think. And there was a young child who says to my wife as she's picking up my daughter's, "Oh, are you?" I'm not going to say my daughter's name, but are you her au pair? First of all, I was surprised that the kid knew what the word au pair meant.
I don't know what the word au pair means.
It's someone who...
Is it like nanny?
Nanny. Yeah. You can say like watches over children, but like the pretentious, as we just talked about. It's a pretentious version of
Oh,
that.
do you
Really
clean the
quick.
house or are you the maid?
It's
Really
both.
quick though, like I know the demographic and income value of where you live, and so that's probably what that kid's used to.
This was when my kid was going to the Jewish Community Center. So,
Yeah, and you're right. Jewish people are never known for having money,
but it was an Asian.
and Asians are never known for having money.
No, I'm just saying there's a lot of dynamics.
Was
here.
it a Jewish Asian? Because that
I don't know.
person probably already owns this house.
Probably. Anyway, but the point was it was a small child.
No, I know. That's
And a
ridiculous.
small child
Just racially profiled your wife.
profiled my wife because my daughter has light hair, light eyes, that kind of thing.
But
And my
see-
daughter was very light skinned when she was
She wasn't swimming as much, yeah.
she wasn't outside.
But okay, now what I'm about to say is going to sound like I'm trying to be funny. I'm not.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that would not be considered an insult because it came from a non-white person.
It's true.
So did she take it more as I wanted to punch this little fucker in the face? Because that's how I would have felt.
I think she was shocked at this. First of all, the little girl knew what an au pair was in the first place, but I think was also just
Couldn't
like
spell it though.
couldn't spell it.
I couldn't spell it. My life depended on me. I'm pretty sure there's a some like accent over a U.
Does it even start with an O? I'm just kidding.
I was looking at you like, oh crap!
Please do
I
not
am
do that.
so
Yeah,
screwed.
Please do not do that to me.
If I had to, I would have thought it was like OPU with some accent.
I don't know how to spell it
R
either,
or
man.
something.
I'm not gonna pretend I do. I never heard that word.
I've never heard that word in my entire life.
Me neither until this little Asian kid said it to my wife. So, my wife didn't tell me what it meant. She knows what it is. She's smart. So, but she probably did.
Like any person does when they're trying to learn something.
Yeah, I guess
There's
so.
nothing wrong with learning.
There's nothing
You know,
wrong with
you know
it.
what's wrong with learning that way?
What?
You have to know how to spell it to be able to look it up in a
No, you
dictionary.
don't. You just have to know to say it.
Hey Siri.
I don't use Siri.
Hey Alexa.
Ah!
Did you have it on?
I didn't know I had it on.
Did you have it on?
Not on my phones.
Hypocrite.
Still,
You liar. You lied to me?
Okay, we need to lock this one down.
Yes.
What was the fallout from that?
nothing. She laughed and thought it was funny. It's like, no, I'm her mother. Oh. And then there was a
Nope.
very confused looking Asian child.
There was a lot of people doubting that the same thing with my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
But they look so similar.
Not all of them. Oh, you're talking about my
Your
wife and my...
wife and your daughter, you racist.
No, I was trying to make you seem racist.
I agree that your daughter and your wife do have a very distinct
Mm-hmm.
difference.
Yeah, my daughter has more of my traits coming from my mom's side.
I was about to say, your daughter and your mom?
Yes, actually, if you took all three of our baby pictures at like the first couple months, we all look the same.
'Cause you look like a
And
girl.
then when
Sorry, growing a beard.
at a certain age in like middle school, because my mom tended to keep her hair short, it's just curly like mine. And my daughter has the same thing. In fact, actually, her hair is a little bit more like my sister. So like when I used to tell, it's like, and I used to do her hair. I didn't want to end up like my dad who didn't know how to do his daughter's hair. And then when I, even since I was like, hey, have you done this? I know what I'm doing, Dad. It's like, I know what I'm doing too, because I had to hear your Titi scream all the time because she didn't do what she had to do. And then, I actually can make fun of her. So it was very enjoyable and memorable. That's why I know.
Fair enough. I had a bunch of nieces, so I know how to do all like the straight white haired people.
Actually, my son does not have my hair type. It's more like
He does, yeah. He doesn't. He has
No.
he has more like
like
Chris's hair
yours.
type.
Does yours get wavier as it gets longer?
Where were you about?
It did.
X years
So my
ago?
son has the wavier hair, so that's the challenge because I'm like, what type of haircut do I give this? And I'm just
You
like,
just let him grow his hair out like a
No.
long,
no,
like a man.
it does not look good at all.
Man, long like a man.
Yeah, when you have good hair, you can grow it out.
I'm waiting for the insult.
I don't know why you did yours, is what I'm.
There we go. I had to wait for him to finish.
Well, the loopty thing came back a while ago.
I know. I just been moving it, but I don't care anymore.
Yes.
My hair is not good for wearing headphones over the top.
He'll edit that in post.
He just wants to edit this whole conversation right now.
I'm going to edit him out of it.
All right. It sounds like we come to an agreement. You need to cut the hair. I mean, about children having
whitewash the entire podcast. Just get rid of them.
Your brush isn't big enough.
Why did you invite your au pair onto the freaking podcast? I don't understand, bro.
Wow.
Spell it.
No.
If we had a life rule that you're not allowed to use any words you couldn't spell,
I'd have to learn how to spell.
Silent Bob over here.
No, they would think of a very politically incorrect word of you because there would be very few words you could probably guess correctly.
Surprisingly, there's a good amount of words I can spell nowadays.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better.
But that's only because of technology.
It's like, where'd you get that pencil and paper? Show me.
Do you know what the most... real junk. Do you know one of the reasons why I didn't want to go to school in 4th grade, why I was homeschooled in 4th grade? Because one of the most frustrating things my 3rd grade teacher would ever do to me is I would ask how to spell something. And she would say, well, you have a dictionary, look it up. And I would look at her, because I've always been me, and I'd be like, I don't know what the letters are. I don't know how to look it up. Well, what does it start with? I don't know, motherfucker. What do you want from me?
That's what I'm asking you.
I'm willing to learn. You are unwilling to teach.
She just didn't like you.
Well, yeah. Well, no. I know. I got yelled at a lot for that because I did tell her that multiple times that I was willing to learn and she was not willing to teach.
She just didn't like you.
Yeah.
Then they tested me to see if I need to be held back, and I tested.
It's all part of the political agenda. You see?
So then
see what happens when you get teacher too much power?
They refused to allow me to skip grades, even though I had the things to do it. So my mom was like, well, fuck you, then. You know my mama's.
I do know your mama.
She doesn't like taking shit from people.
You know, nowadays with this Gen stuff, as we're talking about,
God.
I mean, kids are expelled for the dumbest things. They're suspended for the dumbest things. Oh. So it's just
I brought a G.I. Joe gun to school. So
right. The kid left school in handcuffs, right? It's like, it's insane.
I made a project with a clock. And I happen to be Arab. I better bomb.
I would have been arrested in kindergarten if it's nowadays because the teacher had to meet with my mother because I was making a bomb in school in kindergarten. It's because I had batteries. I brought batteries to school. The part that I didn't admit to is that I was trying to explode them.
Oh, I know you do that.
I mean,
but yes, yeah. I mean, that was the point.
In 1st grade, I got into multiple fights with 6th graders and beat the living shit out of them.
Yeah.
So I would have been expelled.
I did make a knife out of my...
The problem is a lot of this is an extreme reaction. So the point is like we talked about to the pendulum swinging type of stuff.
Oh, I thought you talking about what we did was an extreme reaction. I was like, no, it was a Tuesday.
No, I didn't say that at all. Like to the point where now, like you mentioned fighting, what if someone attacks you? It's like, oh, you're suspended automatically. It's like, oh, so I'm just supposed to just keep beating me up?
No, you're allowed to restrain them. Well, actually, I don't even know about that anymore.
No, I doubt that.
When we were in high school, at our school, we were allowed to restrain them, but we could not throw any physical blows.
I brought a pair of handcuffs to school once, and I chained the kid to the monkey bars and then left him there. And then they found him there, obviously not too long ago, but like I would have been arrested for sure for that. But this kid was a bully. So I basically handcuffed the bully.
Bitch had it coming, man.
Right. So, but I would have been in trouble for that, which I should have been, I guess. But, you know.
At Lakeview, I got in a lot of trouble too. Because people would fuck with Kelly.
Oh. Yeah. I was about to say the last name at a reaction.
Yep.
I can't do that.
Nope.
Yeah. Wink.
But yeah, no, like, yeah, I got in a lot. I would have gotten in a lot of trouble. I mean, I did get technically I didn't get expelled from Lakeview. I just got suspended.
Yeah, but it gets to the point where it's like you're teaching someone to not do certain things. Like when all of those are just like,
Oh shit, we gotta wrap this up, guys.
someone's aggressive to you, it's like, dude, you don't want your kid to be the person who just rolls over and just takes the damage.
Hell no.
Like, you get what I'm saying? And then I remember my daughter, this was the first time. I haven't had to do this with my son yet. I haven't had that issue yet.
He's not old enough yet.
No, he just does it himself. I didn't have to tell him to swing back. But with my daughter, when she was in just daycare and wasn't going, she would come home with sand in her hair, and I'd be like, why do you have sand in your hair? And it's becoming, I told you not to be getting your sand in your hair. She was like, oh, I was just playing in the sandbox. And then eventually she just like, Dad, it's because this person keeps putting sand in my hair. It's not my fault. Please stop punishing me. Because I thought she was doing it on purpose. And I was like, oh, really? I was like, okay, let's get this stuff out of your hair. And then I was like, did you tell the teacher? He's like, yes, and they didn't stop. And you talked to the person. It's like, yes, they didn't stop. So the next time I went there, I went and dropped it off. I talked to the actual teacher there. And I said, hey, I've already talked to my daughter. She's evidently done these steps. She's going to do these steps one more time. And so you're aware of it. When it gets to the point that she tells you, and this happens again, she will hit this girl in the face. And I will gladly come up and pick her up. So you need to talk to that person's parent before we're talking about it with her on the ground after getting punched in the face. I am not joking. We have tried to go through the steps. It is not the first option. But when it comes down to it, I am not going to have someone literally physically assaulting my daughter and you guys stand there and watch it happen.
Yeah, Chris had to talk me off the ledge.
Oh yeah, remember that one?
You were at work. And so I called you after. I called Chris. He calmed me way down by the time I got to you. I don't want to go into that because
it's been a long road.
Yeah, but someone threatened my daughter.
With happiness and love.
How dare they?
Probably out of those things. I mean, I'm sure the kid, like I said, rational me is like, man, kid was just being stupid. But like real me is like, and he should fucking die for it.
The kid goes home to the clan.
I hope not. Then I would actually feel
Why
bad.
do you guys assume everyone's a clan baby?
They're stupid and white. That's probably what it is, man. That or a trailer.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about people that are good people that live in a trailer. I'm talking about trailer trash people.
We're not talking about affordable homing. We're talking
No,
about...
we're not talking about people that they're chill that live in a trailer park. It's perfectly fine. But there's those people that live there that even they're like, I fucking hate that son of a bitch.
Yeah. There's trailers and trailers.
Exactly. You heard there was a slight accent still.
Yeah.
I heard what you did right there. Don't think I'm gonna go over that.
All right, so let's wrap this up, guys.
Freaking hard R's over here. Jeez. So anyway, if you enjoyed our conversation today about parenting Gen Z and Gen Alpha children, make sure you go ahead and like us on YouTube. Send us some comments about the things that you disagree with, and maybe some suggestions on how Chris can get over his racism.
I am not racist. I just hate all white people.
I was waiting for you to make whatever joke you were going to make.
It's going to happen.
Just all of them.
Man. But yeah. Once again, we really appreciate Jonathan coming by and giving his...
Like hundreds of dollars of cents. It's like counting it 1 penny at a time.
1 peso.
What's the word count on this video now?
Oh my God. If I actually had to... Oh, if I had to do CC
Bye,
on this,
folks.
this would never happen. But no, so next week we actually do have our season 2 wrap up and a couple of announcements with that. We're going to be doing some definite major changes to things, but it's still going to be us talking and giving our opinions on things.
Yeah, we're just talking.
Just a little bit different.
A little bit different.
But other than that, you can also check out some of our screen discussions on the channel as well as some other fun stuffs there. And, check out our social media stuff where we don't do anything ever. And there you go.
Yeah, we abandoned that.
This go around. Yeah.
For this go around.
Anyhow.
We'll just hire a Gen Z or Gen
I'm not
Alpha.
paying the kid for this.
No?
Hell no. Make that into like a chore.
Uh,
You got to promote Daddy's podcast.
That is so sad sounding.
negative reinforcement.
I'm like, how come I didn't get enough retweets? Somebody's not getting ice cream tonight.
Oh, man.
Someone looks like someone already ate all their ice cream. If said that to you, I would high five her. I would high five her, and that's
so
like,
would he,
good luck.
actually.
Did you ever hear the memory foam joke?
No.
Oh my gosh. One quick anecdote, people. So when she was like just about to be at the age where she would understand that she had insulted me, she was like, I love laying on you, Dad. And I'm like, oh, I love it when you lay on me too. And she was like, you're like memory foam. You ever wanted to punch your child so damn hard, but you're just like, she didn't know what she said.
But she's so sucked into what you are that you would just be punching yourself? Like memory foam?
So this is the last time that Jonathan's going to be joining us. So I hope that you enjoyed your time with him, because it is going to be fleeting. All right, I'm done. Bye.
See you in the next gen.
Yep.